my sound down. Oh shit! Don't put meeting is now streaming live on YouTube. Okay, got it. Okay, good.
Then I'm gonna tweet, and then you're gonna retweet, and then we're gonna rock and or roll.
Oh, excellent! I like this. My sound down. Oh shit! Don't put meeting is now streaming live on YouTube. Okay, got it.
Okay, that means your work is working. Okay, good.
Hey, hi everybody. Good morning, and welcome to what used to be called the Red Carpet Show. We're just about to start the podcast. Episode, what the hell episode is it here? 273. Numbers mean nothing to me now, Mike. Now that you've hit 1,000, like it's insignificant. It's like when someone says, "Oh, so and so has a 3-game goal scoring streak going." Dude, the record is like 20. Come on.
Well, don't say that.
But you know what I mean.
It keeps our lives organized. Let's put it that way.
But I'm saying the 1,000, like the 1,000 is such a great number. It's like, I mean, I'm sure there's lots of people that have done 1,000 whatevers, right? 1,000 broadcasts of a Leaf game. Sure. I'm sure I did 1,000, probably did 1,000 versions of Sportsline, but just the number is like, wow.
I'm just
like you played 1,000 games.
Yes.
It's like playing 1,000 NHL games. Like it's been done by, I don't know, 50, 60, 80, I don't know, maybe 100 guys have played 1,000 games, right? It's an accomplishment. It's just the number. The number is such a great number. Anyway.
So, my friend, you have a tweet that you need to retweet here. Right. And then I'm going to pull this up here because I like to see the comments in real time.
All right, buddy. Beautiful.
Lots going on here. Snowy day. Yeah, so I do plan to bike to East York, but I got to keep my eye on what the snow does. But
yeah,
I did a 3.5K ride this morning, and it was fine. But that's not quite a ride. Well, that's not quite a ride to East York, so I got to see what it looks like.
I was going to ride yesterday, and I walked anyway to Bill King's because I do a radio thing with him. And he's like, "Did you bike over?" I was thinking of doing it, but it was a little chilly. I'm not like you. You're hardcore.
No, you know what?
It's like hardcore.
If you think like you think, where you just drop in, you can't do it. It's too cold. But if you do it every day,
right? It becomes exactly.
You get acclimatized to the whole thing. So.
It's like
Wayne Brown is here, Moose Grumpy, and Hebsy.
Moose Grumpy. Hey, Moose. Wait, well, can I get a little love too? Maybe a Hebsy mascot or something that I can, What about it? Hey, can I get like a toaster?
I didn't know you knew about that.
I saw. Are you kidding? You don't think I pay attention, Mike?
I don't know.
You don't think I pay attention to your life? Of course I do. Let's get going with this.
Yeah, Moose dropped this off. So there's our toaster.
It's fabulous. Love it. By the way, Mike, I have a gift for you. I'm going to deliver it to you on Monday, I think. And in exchange, I need some Palma pasta and some beer to make up for my last couple of appearances.
Okay, yeah. I have a... Okay, good. Thank you for giving me the heads up.
I got the car.
Okay, Monday? Okay, good. I'll make sure you get it. Okay. Here we go.
Live from Toronto, it's Hebsy on Sports, episode number... It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what number it is, does it? It's 273. It just sounds so insignificant. Hi there, sports fans. Welcome to the show. Mark Hebsy here at the Little Italy studio. And podcast legend Toronto Mike, the Cal Ripken of podcasters, is standing by, running things as usual from the mothership in New Toronto. Big show today. Our guest is Brittlestar. That's right, the 70s rock band. No, not that. No, sorry. He's the popular content producer, also known as Stewart Reynolds. Or is it the other way around? It's Stewart Reynolds, who's a.k.a. is Brittlestar. Anyway, he's going to join us in about 30 minutes. Very, very popular guy. That's why we had him on the show. Before that, though, lots to cover, including the Toronto Maple Leafs bounce back win over the Wild. First place in the Atlantic in sight? Yeah, you got it, baby. If we're going to have to play Florida or Tampa, we're going to get home ice advantage. Maybe, if they play the way they did last night against the Wild. Big weekend for the Raptors coming up post All-Star break. 3 games in 4 nights against Eastern Conference rivals that are breathing down their neck. They're in 7th in the East. Very exciting team. And of course, what's the sports world going to look like when sanctions are put in place to punish Russia for its invasion of Ukraine? Don't want to get too political on this show, but how can we not? Because immediately, as soon as they invaded, like the hockey announcers are like, geez, what does this do for the World Championships? And the soccer announcers are like, geez, what's going on? The Champions League final is in St. Petersburg. And then everything, like, what? Why the fuck did they let him do that in Sochi? And why did fucking Ovechkin? Is he a Putin guy? Like, what's going on there? And what do we do with the owner of Chelsea? He's a Russian oligarch. So immediately, anything or any sponsor or anything that had to do with Russia, you were like, wait a minute, what do we do with these guys? How do we punish them? Sponsors being dropped, events scheduled for Russia being postponed, canceled as we speak. Wait a minute. Newsflash, another one just happened. Just now. We'll get to that later. And by then, there will be more sanctions against Russia, those bastards. We got the latest from tennis and golf, and the emphasis on Phil Mickelson. What the F? Phil Mickelson. It turned into Satan all of a sudden. Like all of a sudden, he was doing what? He's making deals with the Arabs. Well, they killed Khashoggi, and their human rights violations are terrible, but they got lots of dough and they love golf. So come on with me. And all the other players are like, Phil, we never heard of you before. You may never play another PGA event again. What the hell's going on with baseball? I don't know. I'm like you, but I'll try to come up with something. All that and much more coming up. Very exciting edition of Hebsy on Sports. First, though, the legendary Toronto Mike. How's it going?
Good, Hebsy. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, come on now. Have you come back down to earth after numero mille?
Yeah, so last Thursday. That was, I guess that was 8 days ago, that episode. 8 days ago, episode 1000 dropped. And again,
but Mike, it dropped 8 days ago, but for some people, it's taken that long to, complete the entire, documentary, right?
I'm naturally curious whenever somebody finishes all 5 hours and 40 minutes because it's
how did they do
an
it?
accomplishment.
Was it in chunks?
Oh, I think you have to do this one in chunks. I don't think you can just turn it on and then 5 hours and 40 minutes later say, okay, done. I don't think you can do it that way. I think you got to chunkify it. But Hebsy, I'm curious about your lady friend. Did she listen to the whole thing?
She is on hour 325. I think she's 3.5 hours into it. When we're on vacation next week, we got another show next Friday, and then we're going on vacation. When we're on vacation, that's when the major listening goes on. Like I've already got it planned. I haven't listened to yours yet. I have it planned for the holiday.
Wow.
I'll be walking Madeira Beach to Treasure Beach. Okay. Should take up the first hour and 25 minutes of the podcast, your 5-hour odyssey. Then on the trip back, I'll listen to the next part. And then the next day, I'm going to take a different walk. So my walks are scheduled around your epic podcast. But for now, let's concentrate on this epic podcast.
Of course. We got Brittlestar today. Of course.
Brittlestar. They got to tell you a couple stories. First of all, my buddy Bubba O'Neill is in hospital. He's at Oakville Trafalgar Hospital. He's been there for about 3 weeks, a month now. Hopes to get out soon. Best wishes to Bubs. Big fan of the show. Loves listening. Wishes he could argue with me the way we used to on Sportsline 2.0 back in the day. So get well soon, Bubs. I think he's heading home soon. We're hoping. Anyway.
Shout out to Bubs.
Shout out to Bubs.
He's a good man. Love that guy.
Good man. Also to I think I had mentioned to you, my parents who are both going to be 90 in June. We've all decided, my brother and I, and them, of course, that it's best for them to move into a facility. They can afford it. And it's very difficult for my mom to, make meals for my dad, look after, clean a place, that kind of a thing. So, they're looking forward to it. They saw a really cool place. So, normally, when someone moves, you're like, I will help you out. And we'll, you can't take everything from where you are now into this new place. So they've got this closet filled, I didn't know this, with pictures, not photo albums, because they didn't really have the time to put photo albums together, but photos. So like, imagine 5,000 photographs. 5,000 individual pictures. Some of them, still in the package where, they got them from the Photo Mart or Photomat or whatever it was, right? Okay. That they had looked at once maybe and then stuck back into the envelope and like into the drawer. 5,000. Okay. So I'm like, listen, we're going to help take some stuff. So there was some furniture that I wanted to take that my mom had said, listen, when we have to go, you can have that piece. One beautiful, absolute beautiful piece that we scooped immediately. And then these pictures, which myself and my girlfriend and my son, Dean, took, like I would say the equivalent of 3 full green garbage bags full of loose pictures. About 5,000. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
5,000. And going over them, unbelievable. Like remarkable stuff I had never seen before. Never. And my brother had never seen before. Pictures of my late brother that we had never seen before. Right. Just like, oh my God. It was tremendous.
What's that like for you? Like when you're looking at these old photos, like
it's great because my parents are still alive.
Right.
So I can ask them about it. It'll be different, obviously, if they passed. You go, oh, So these are memories that are like, wow, like, why didn't you tell us about this? And I don't know. We thought we might have. Like, they got a letter, for example, they got this letter, and in it was like 35 beautiful photographs that my cousin had taken that he had mailed to them from California, right? Here you go. And so they went, oh, isn't this nice? And tossed them in a drawer, in this big drawer where never showed them to us.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I suggest if when you go to your parents' place or ask if there's like, you got some pictures lying around. I bet you they do. All right.
Good advice.
Did you watch a Leaf game last night?
I didn't. I was doing toast. Missed the Leaf game.
Right. So let me clue you in.
Sure.
And all Leaf fans, by the way, I want to ask you this: is everything okay? Are you feeling better now that the 18-wheeler that almost went off a cliff is righted itself? It's going okay now? Or do you just not care about an insignificant game in February against the Minnesota Wild? Maybe you're looking ahead to April, like many of us, and the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. That's right, the Stanley Cup playoffs. You got to wait a while, about 30 games. And you're likely going to play Tampa or Florida in the first round, and just about everyone says you don't want to play those teams. I don't hear anybody saying, oh, you don't want to be playing the Leafs in the first round. Like, I haven't heard that. How about you, Mike? Oh, you don't want to be playing the Leafs in the first round. You know what they're like. You don't want to be playing them.
And nobody fears playing the Leafs in the first round, I don't think.
You said it. It's true. So it's great that Auston Matthews has taken the lead once again in the Rocket Richard race. Last year he won it, Oh, well, listen, we got Auston Matthews. He's the Rocket Richard Trophy winner. Big fucking deal.
Right.
What have you done for me lately? What about the team? He was awesome last night. Auston was awesome last night. He won the game for the team. 35th and 36 goals of the year. Final score Leafs 3-1. Empty netter made the 3-1 score. So was this the real Toronto Maple Leaf team? Is this the real team? Or is this an imposter? Is the team that played Montreal and got their doors blown in? Is that the real Leaf team? Is it somewhere in between? Well, of course, we don't know. It's different on different nights. It depends who the opposition is and all that stuff. I mean, that game against St. Louis last Saturday was horrible. They were horrible. You're going to have your days.
Hebsy, what's the Bodog odds that the Leafs escape the first round this year?
Oh, I don't know what those odds are. I haven't checked. I don't believe you can get them. You can ask Bodog for them, but I can tell you that the Leafs are one of the favorites to win the Stanley Cup. I mean, when I say favorites, one of the top 5 teams right now.
Win the Stanley Cup. Oh my goodness.
Right, to win the Stanley Cup, correct. I'll get to it in a second, okay? But it's anyway. So this play by Matthews last night, Mike, you must have seen the highlights. This play that he made is the type of play that we should expect from him all the time now, as the highest paid player, as the first overall draft pick, as the guy that when we drafted him, we knew this was the guy. This is him on the game winner, game tied 1-1, midway third. Brandon Duhaime is coming out of the zone. He's got 3 strides coming out of the zone with the puck, all right, to lead the Wild rush. And like in a half a second, Auston Matthews has lifted his stick, taken the puck, stormed into the Wild zone with Mitch Marner on the right side, fed Marner with a perfect pass, gone to the net while Duhaime's going, oh, he just took the puck from me. And there he goes. Went to the net, takes the return from Marner, taps it in. I mean, a tap in, really, that they work on all the time, that nobody blows. And certainly not the leading scorer in the NHL. It doesn't blow those. And boom, it's 2-1 Leafs and game right there. So the question is, can the Leafs reel off a long winning streak? 7 games, 10 games, like Calgary did until they got killed last night. Right. Can they? Because if they can, maybe they can overtake Florida and Tampa. And maybe they can, if they're going to have to play these guys, you want to have home ice advantage. You're stuck in that division no matter what. There's no Montreal in the first round to play this year. Guys, this is the real McCoy. Can they do it? Are they good enough to win the Atlantic? If they get stellar goaltending from Peter Mrazek, like last night when he made 29 saves, and Jack Campbell before he fell into this funk, which I expect he'll bounce back from, unless the amateur psychologists on social media determine that Jack Campbell is not as stable as Freddie Anderson was last year before they ran him out of town. Motherfuckers.
Hebsy, straight up, real talk, man. You know your sports better than anybody. Do you see this team having even the possibility of winning the Stanley Cup?
100%. They have the best goal scorer in the league and maybe the best 2.
But defense wins cups, right?
It does. And so Did you think that Jack Campbell was going to play like that every single game? Or was there a possibility that he might have had a slump? Do you think that this ever happened to Ken Dryden before? Ever happened to Martin Brodeur before? Yep.
But are you
Every
comparing their
goaltending
D-lines
is
to our
the most.
D-line? Those were solid D-lines, those teams you're referring to. That Montreal Canadiens team and that New Jersey Devils team had really solid defensemen. I just
remember too, though, Mike, those defensemen were helped out by outstanding forwards who back-checked, like Bob Gainey, Doug Jarvis, Guy Carbonneau. Do I have to keep going?
Right.
And see, this is what the Leafs have to do. Now, if Auston Matthews can play like that all the time, he's going to be the best two-way player in the NHL, right? And does he raise the level of the team? Like, is John Tavares a better player because Auston Matthews is on that team? Is Mitch Marner better because of Auston Matthews? Yeah. Will the defense be better because of Matthews? Sure, if he back checks like he did last night, holy shit. So it's a team effort, right? And one night, if your goalie's not playing well, guess what? The offense has got to come through for you. So that's absolutely why. Absolutely. And Jake Muzzin is out. That's a tough loss, but it's going to give other players opportunities. And then you got to change your strategy. That's when the coaches go, okay, guys, we don't have Muzzin anymore. Somebody's going to have to step up and be physical. Pierre Engvall, you're going to have to play like you're 225 pounds, not like you're 165 pounds, because that's what he looks like, Engvall. He can skate, he can shoot, but it's like Inga Hammerstrom in the Harold Ballard era. Like, come on. Right. You got a dozen eggs in your pocket. Anyway, so here's the Bodog odds. Top 5 teams, according to Bodog. Colorado, plus 400. That's it, 4-1. That's all you're going to get if you bet on Colorado to win the Stanley Cup right now. Florida, Las Panteras, plus 550. That's it. 5.5-1. Tampa, plus 700. Vegas, plus 850. That's the number 2 team in the West, Vegas. And Toronto, plus 900. So if you want to bet the Leafs, you get 9-1. Is 9-1 good odds?
Hebsy, would you take your Bodog dollars and stick them on the Leafs at 9-1 odds?
No, I don't think I would. I tell you what, though, prior to last night, Calgary was plus 1,400. I would have put my money on Calgary.
Really?
I like the 14-1 price for a team, Calgary, that can win 10 games in a row. Period.
Wow.
I think they're the only team in the history of the NHL that swept their entire homestand. I think if it was a 7-game homestand or something like that. I could be wrong with that stat, but it sounded good. And that's the other thing, too, is I've been hearing stats, and I'm like, okay, where did I hear that? What was the source? Because if it was on TSN or Sportsnet or whatever, but was it on? Did I see it on Twitter? And who was the source again? Joey Blowy?
Joey Blowy knows his shit. Don't forget that.
He does. As you know, and we've mentioned, I do. I make my bets with Bodog. Anybody who signs up at Hebsy.online/Bodog gets a free limited edition Hebsy on Sports t-shirt. And I mean limited edition. I'm not kidding. Once this run is done, they're done. The printer has promised us a delivery for later this morning. So it's possible that while we're on the air here, Mike, there's going to be, and I'm going to get the t-shirt and I'm going to put it on and
amazing.
It's snowing out. I don't think the guy's going to get here. So here's the deal. All you have to do is open a new account with Bodog for as little as $25 all the way up to $200. And Bodog will match your deposit. So essentially you're gambling with house money. Right?
Wow.
Whatever amount you deposit, they're going to match up to $200. So register, make a deposit, make that play, help the show, get a free limited edition Hebsy on Sports t-shirt, top shelf where they keep the peanut butter. You can see a mock-up of the shirt on my new website. Make sure you go to Hebsy.online/Bodog and help support the show. The new site is Hebsy.online and then, /Bodog. By the way, if you're like Alan or you're like Tyler, or you're like Ed. And thanks, guys, for being faithful supporters. You've already got your t-shirt. You've signed up.
Okay, because
so you go to Hebsy.online/T.
Yeah. So Gene Velitis in the chat is just asking logistically when he can expect the t-shirt. So you're saying they're arriving probably today they arrive and then they have to get to the person who earned it.
Wait a second. No,
okay.
It's not
Explain
that
this
simple.
To us.
Not that simple. You'll get it when we get it and we've approved it and then we send it out. Right now, we're not sending it out by carrier pigeon, but we're not sending it out express mail like that. So I don't want you to be waiting like, where the heck is my t-shirt? You'll get it. Trust me. Okay.
It's coming. Yes.
Things take time and I don't want it to be a shitty t-shirt. And one of those crummy ones, it's going to be, Hebsy quality.
I can't wait to see these things.
Top shelf where they keep the peanut butter. Well, you can see, You can go, if you go to Hebsy.online, you can see a mock-up of it.
But it sounds like next time we meet, next Friday, it sounds like you'll be wearing the T-shirt.
Oh, I will.
Okay, that's huge. Okay, the numbers are going to be through the roof. Wearing the T-shirt.
Come on.
Next Friday.
All right. So anyway, so come on. So do me a favor. Okay. Hebsy.online/Bodog and help support the show. The Raptors back in action tonight after the All-Star break. By the way, the All-Star game, don't even get me started. No more dunk contests.
It was the worst one I've ever seen.
No more slam dunk contests. That's it. Dead. Rest in peace, the slam dunk contest.
What
50 great years of it, but
maybe enough of the stunts, enough of the gimmicks. Like, what if you just went back to basics? Like, just
who cares?
Like proper jam. You don't need to have props and jumping over people and everything.
Mike, how many ways can you stuff a basketball through a rim? Like, how many different ways? I think it's all been done. Here, I'll give you an example. Once Blake Griffin jumped over a car, the dunk contest jumped the shark.
It's over. Over.
I mean, he jumped over a car. He jumped over a car. What are you going to do for me lately? And so that's why these guys, first of all, I'm watching the dunk contest. It reminded me of one of the reasons I don't like curling. There's too many attempts. Right. See, curling to me should be each team gets 4 rocks. That's it. Bang, 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 guard. Okay, to the 4-foot.
Right.
But see, the reason I can't is because I can turn on, I could turn on curling and go, where are we here? Third end, 2-2. Get back to me later.
And nothing's worse than a failed dunk.
And the same with the dunk contest. You should get like 2 attempts. That's it. This 8 attempts, 12 attempts, 5 attempts. Meantime, Charlotte, first up for the Raptors tonight, as they play 3 games in 4 nights to try to stay in the thick of the Eastern Conference race. They're in 7th place right now. So you got the Hornets tonight in Carolina. Then the Raptors make the short trip to Atlanta to play the 10th place Hawks. That's tomorrow in Atlanta. And then Monday, the Raptors are in Brooklyn to take on the new look Nets. And you know what they say about Brooklyn? F Brooklyn. They're right behind the Raptors in 8th place. They're 31-29. Raptors are 32-25. Raptors have only lost 25 games. That's 4 less than the Bulls, I believe, that they're at there. So, so the Raptors, they're just going to have to keep playing the way they have. They're in every game. Like, I look at the Raptors, they're never out of it as far as I'm concerned. And by the same token, in the NBA, you can be up by 15 points and you're still not comfortable. When my team's up 50, I'm still not comfortable. Because you know what 15 is? 15 is one guy on the other team gets hot, couple of 3-pointers, you miss a couple, a foul, a this or that, a turnover. And
if you're Reggie, it's like 9 seconds or
Reggie Miller. Reggie Remember Miller. That?
Yeah.
Against the Knicks at Madison
I'll never
Square.
Forget. Yeah, like 12 seconds or something. I don't know, but he scored like 20 points or something. It was crazy.
You see Steph Curry in the actual game, 16 3-pointers.
Yeah.
16 3-pointers. I mean, it's the All-Star game. It's like, feed it to Steph. But the best was he's on the sidelines while the game's going on, and I forget the sideline reporter. Allie, who was it? Anyway, he's talking to her, and she's like, "You need one more 3 to set the All-Star game record." And he's like, "Oh, give me the ball." And then boom, knocks one in and sets the record. And it was great. A lot of fun. But geez.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what did I do? I went from the slam dunk contest to the Raptors, to the 3-point shooting, to the All-Star game. Raptors 3 games, 4 nights against 3 opponents directly below them in the standings. They're 2.5 games out of 3rd place. And the 3rd place team is Philly. And Philly now has James Harden. And now Philly is like, whoa, as if Chicago and Miami aren't good enough already. Like Philly, oh boy, because Embiid is going to get lots more room to shoot because he's got Harden, right? Not like with Ben Simmons, where Ben Simmons never took a 3-pointer in his life, couldn't shoot. All the pressure was on Embiid. But now he's going to have some space. Philly. Boy, the NBA East is good. It's exciting. So this was the 75th was it the 75th All-Star game, 75th season celebration? I guess it would have been. Did they have the All-Star game 70? No, they didn't. I don't think they did. I could be wrong. Anyway, 75 years of the NBA. It's nice to see that they get the, as many as they possibly can, the top 75 players of all time, trot them out there. It was nice to see these guys. But you can see the knees and the leg on some of these guys, the really tall guys, and how they're really hurting. Just walk like Bill Walton, watching Bill Walton walk. And I'm thinking, what's Anthony Davis going to be like when he's 50 years old, 60 years old? And what's Zion Williamson? All these guys, man, with all that weight and that size on those ankles and those skinny knees, and painful.
Occupational hazard.
For sure. By the way, remember last year, Mike, when I told you that I had canceled my subscription to The Athletic?
Yes.
Remember the reasons?
They let go, like, was it John Lott left and Staten, or how do you say his name again?
Andrew
Stoughton. I always say Stoughton, yes.
Two really good writers who wrote exclusively pretty much about the Blue Jays.
Right.
And that's the type of coverage I want. That's the coverage that's lacking in the Toronto media. Although the people that do write it do a great job, but it's not nearly the way it used to be. I mean, I'm going over stuff from 92. When I'm going through my parents' stuff, there's newspaper articles. My dad kept these phenomenal, all the tons of programs and stuff like that. And you see the number of articles written, the stuff available, background stories.
Well, they had
we're going to talk to Garth Orge about that next week because he's going to be on. But the number of articles, the preseason articles that were written, prospectus and good long form articles on players and backgrounds. And you just don't have that. So this is what Lott and Stoughton were doing at The Athletic. Anyway, long story short, two reasons. Like, one was those two guys weren't writing for them anymore, and the local coverage was, I felt, substandard. But also, even more importantly, I was paying $49 a year. Yeah, so I'm paying $49 a year. Okay. Yes. And now here comes, you could have The Athletic for $1 a month. So I'm like, oh, fuck, that's great. So I go and they, no, this is your contract for. I said, but that's only for new subscribers. So right away now I'm pissed.
Right.
I'm like, fuck this. I can't get I'll pay $1 a month, right? $1 a month. But now you're telling me I can't get the $1 a month thing because I subscribed 3-4 years ago for $49 a year? That's bullshit, is that? So I canceled it. Or so I thought. I get a bill. Boom, The Athletic is just, what? You bastards. But it came through PayPal. Now I got to do the resolution thing with PayPal for the $49 fucking dollars.
Right.
And I've got the thing. It says you canceled it. I go, what's your cancellation number? I go, there's no number here. Well, you didn't cancel. Oh, I did. It says canceled. See? I have the email that says you're canceled. The fact that you didn't give me a cancellation number is your problem.
It sounds like when you those like gyms and workout. What are they called? They're called gyms, right? I should clearly I don't go to one, right?
Fitness centers,
fitness centers.
Yeah,
this is a known issue where you cancel and then you get automatic billing, and it's like pain in the ass.
Right. I mean,
it makes
once
you not want to
you're
sign
canceled,
up
and you've got a record of that. Oh my God, that's
so. Brian Gerstein also quit The Athletic because he was tired of seeing people paying $1 a month when he was paying regular price.
Right, same thing. Anyway, look, I'm going to get into some of the Russia and Ukraine stuff in a couple.
Okay, let's get
when Brittlestar joins us. Okay.
Okay.
But this is a huge, this is, once the invasion began, it was like, all right, what is the rest of the world doing now to attempt to punish or fight back against Russia, right? And so now it's all these people sort of like, oh, not LeBron James. What am I thinking? Sorry. Alex Ovechkin. Oh, Alex Ovechkin.
He's very pro-Putin.
Yeah. What are his motives here? And how does he feel about this? And what about this guy, Abramovich, the guy who owns Chelsea Football Club? And so now there's all this suspicion. And, like my dad said to me, he says, you should have seen what it was like, during the Bay of Pigs and stuff like that.
Right.
And the Cold War. You think that we were how about before 1972? When we went over and, and by the way, that's another thing is this September is the 50th anniversary of that series. And I get the feeling that Putin, he thinks that Russia won that series. I think he's one of those, oh yeah, no, we won it on goals, on the goal differential or some fucking thing like that. Okay. You hear the story about they were playing, there was an old timers game or an alumni game and they're playing, and Putin, of course, is like, what's his face in Korea, right? Like, Putin scores 100 goals a game and he's the greatest player ever. And, we've seen footage of him, tripping over the thing like that. And so apparently they were playing, there was an old timers game or an alumni game, whatever they call it, alumni game. And Dmitry Kristich, the former NHLer. Yeah. Okay. Who's Ukrainian. Apparently gave him give him a bump and knocked him to the ice. And this is one of the reasons why Putin's like, well, let's go into Ukraine. Like people are suggesting that even that little thing there, like, you have to let him, you can't touch Putin. You have to let him go through and score and all that kind of thing, or else you're sent to the Russian front.
Also scary, man. Also scary. But your guest next week, I was a big fan of Garth Orge. I'm looking forward to it. But Garth Orge is a big Trump fan, and Trump is very pro-Russia in this.
Hang on a second. We can't get into politics about Garth Orge right now.
It's happening.
Yeah, you can't. We can't do that. Okay, I don't want to get into
your
politics
show,
with our guest. We're not going to talk politics with Garth Orge. We're going to talk baseball.
I know, but he's not. He's not here right now.
That's right. Well, you don't think he listens to the show? Garth Orge. I don't know.
I was going to ask you if you were going to bring it up with Garth next week.
All right. Okay. Someone's listening, saying, "Hey, Garth, you should see what they're saying about you." It's okay. But yeah, what if Trump was the president? What if Trump was the president of the United States right now? Holy shit. Okay. Our guest is coming up. Today's guest receives a gift pack from NateMakesSoap.com. Most soaps dry out your skin, the stuff that you get at the grocery store by the big companies there. This soap, though, moisturizes as it cleanses, leaves your skin soft. Mike, I know you love it. Monica loves it. You smell good. You look good. That's for sure. Woo. And you look more confident than you just look more confident.
It's doing wonders for me. And I just like smelling good.
Hey, listen, no argument there. It's good. When someone says, it's true. When someone says you smell good, like I take that as a supreme compliment. I don't think you can say, a guy can't say that to a woman. He may think that, but you can't go, hey, you smell good. Hey, wait, hey, oh. So you can't even, but it's true. When someone smells good, they smell good. By the way, Nate is so confident that his soap will make you feel and smell good. He's willing to give you a free sample. If you live in the area of, bounded by, Steeles to the north, Highway 427 to the west, McAllen Road to the east, and the lake to the south, you can get from Nate. Go to Hebsy.online/soap.
Oh.
Hebsy.online/soap. Support the podcast, support of the local small business, and you'll get it delivered. We've had some deliveries done last week. People are loving. And by the way, some of those deliveries done by our good friends at goodfootdelivery.com that are out of Nate's zone or other places like that. Goodfoot Delivery is a Toronto courier service providing meaningful employment to the neurodiverse and developmentally disabled community. They offer employment and support to a community of people who traditionally have challenges finding regular, meaningful employment. This is a great company to use when you want to order from a local business. Maybe they don't offer delivery themselves, local bookstore, specialty food store, you name it. With Goodfoot Delivery, you can have anything delivered affordably and reliably. Don't overpay for delivery. You can get 50% off your order by going to goodfootdelivery.com and punching in the promo code Hebsy50 for 50% off your first 2 deliveries. Goodfootdelivery.com. Help support a local charitable organization. Did I say that right? Organization.
Yeah, just make sure you say it with a Z, not an S.
What's that?
Organization.
Organization.
The Brits use a.
Is it organization? Organization. Us Canadians said I, right?
We took the Z like Americans, but the British uses an S.
Right. There's a lot of those words. That's true. That we use the Z and they use the S.
And then there's the other
organized SED. Organized.
Words like color, where we go OUR like the Brits, and the Americans just drop the U.
Speaking of Brit, joining us on the show today, a man who's very popular on social media and about as media friendly as you can get. Really. He's a content creator. He's known as the internet's favorite dad. He's also a big sports fan. That's the only reason he's here. We had to get the sports element in here. He has commented on sports. Please welcome Stewart Reynolds, a.k.a. Brittlestar. How you doing?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Well, I'm doing great. I know Mike's doing fantastic. Mr. 1000, he's doing all right.
Well, thanks to Brittlestar, who appeared on episode 1000.
Right. It's true. And my family's gradually making their way through that episode. We hope to get through it before we have grandchildren. It'll be good.
It takes a village.
It does. It does. We're taking shifts.
Right. Well, Stuart, I already mentioned I haven't listened to it, but I've got it planned. I'm going on holidays, and my walks on the beach will be designed around, about 1 hour chunks of listening to Mike, going this way, and then going that way, and then the next day. So I've got it all planned out for the first week of my holidays.
That sounds really sad.
Yeah, it is. It's unfortunate. Listen, I don't know what to call you. Are you Brittlestar, a.k.a. Stewart Reynolds, or are you Stewart Reynolds, a.k.a. Brittlestar, or does it matter?
I don't think it matters. I think that people don't necessarily remember Stewart Reynolds as much as Brittlestar, so I get called that. There's people who I know who I've known for years and years and years who now just refer to me as Brit, and I'll answer to it because I don't care. Whatever.
But come on, you must care. You must have
no,
a favorite.
I really.
You'd rather be referred to as.
I don't really care. I mean, it's funny because people call me Stewart, and I think there's no money in that.
I was like that with Hebsy. Like I'd rather you call me Hebsy. I prefer if you call me Hebsy, it's a friendly thing. If you call me Mark, it's like, oh, do I owe you money?
Exactly.
Business call.
Exactly.
Mr.
It looks
Hebsher.
like
Mr. Hebsher is my father. He's my dad.
Exactly.
My dad is Mr. Hebsher.
Exactly.
Mr. Hebsher. So I could never handle that. I know that like my son is I guess we're like Mike is too, and I am. We're content creators. My son is also a content creator. His friend, his good friend, is a guy named Curtis Connor, who is a big star on Vine. And you were a star on Vine. Can you explain what Vine was and how that changed your life?
Yeah, well, first of all, Curtis is a great guy, and Curtis and I have done videos together before as well. It's been so fun to watch him succeed.
Well, my son's touring with him. My son and his friend, they're all touring. They just got their tour, their U.S. tour, and they're like all over the United States. He's showing me the tour. I'm going, are you kidding me? He's going, Dad, we got Charlotte, Raleigh, Vicksburg, Mountainburg, holy cow.
It's crazy for sure. Anyway, I'm super happy, and I'm not at all bitter.
Good. You could be a part. You could be on the leg of the tour when they go through Canada or anywhere for that. They might say we need.
Like if they could use, they could use me to set the bar so low that when they come out, people be like, "Oh, thank God, there's something funny happening." That'd be really good.
They got some 500 to 1,000 seat venues that.
Oh my God! They're doing
awesome,
fantastic.
Selling those places out. Jeez.
It's phenomenal. They've done so well. But back to your question about Vine. So Vine was in 2013. It was released. It was an app on your phone that allowed you to make 6.4-second looping videos. And it was the first time you kind of been able to easily make and upload a video and easily watch a whole bunch of videos. There's a whole bunch of people that sort of came up at that time, like Curtis is one of them, of course, as well, and sort of took advantage of this platform because there's nothing else like it at the time. And that was it basically saved our family, which was amazing because we were just like fiscally not in a great spot. And then there was opportunities that came about because of Vine that we kind of went, okay, let's just do this now. And we've been doing that like full time for the past, coming up in 9 years now.
That's awesome. So what were you doing? What was your life before Vine? Plodding along in a dead end job? What was it?
No, I've been essentially self-employed since I was 19, and we had a business for about 10 years that did really, really well, and then didn't do very well, got hacked, and actually we had a bad sort of experience with that. And then it took like 5 years to climb out of that hole. And in that sort of 5 years of climbing, I did things like voiceovers, I did a little bit of web development, but there was nothing really that was really kicking in. And then Vine came along, and my youngest son, Gregor, who does really well on social media as well.
Yeah, I've seen his stuff is good. He's funny.
Yeah, he's a very funny guy.
Is he funnier than you, or is he as funny as you? How does that work?
He's funnier than me, and he has the benefit of youth, so he's cuter than me too. So again, I'm not bitter. I just want to state that. We had the opportunities come along in 2013. We made a video called "Put Your Finger on the Screen," and it went crazy, ridiculous, viral. And then within a month, Disney contacted us, and Disney were like, "Hey, do you want to come to California?" And I was like, "I can't afford to go there." And they're like, "No, we're going to pay you to come here, and we're going to give you money too, and your whole family can come." And it was like, okay, we got down there. We met with a bunch of other content creators.
How old were the kids? Where were you in life there?
They were 11 and 14 at the time. So it was.
This was from Stratford to California?
Stratford to California. Yeah. A really weird event called, Social Media All-Stars, it was called. There was like people like Grumpy Cat there. Well, Grumpy Cat's not a people, and Grumpy Cat's dead. But there are people like Grumpy Cat there, and most ridiculously handsome man, and all this sort of weird stuff that was sort of really popular at the time. And there was this huge event where we had to learn choreography and dance out of the castle at Disneyland at like really early in the morning, like 7 a.m. or something, dance out of the castle with a character. Like we were assigned like Mickey, Minnie, that type of thing. My character was Pluto. So just to give you an idea where my status was, Pluto's okay, But I mean, Pluto's no Goofy. Pluto is no Mickey. You know what I mean?
No.
But I just took what I got. I was just happy to be there.
Right.
And I learned the dance. Had to do this dance. There was like 1,000 people with media from all over the place. There's doing this. It was crazy. It was just really ridiculous. And one of the evenings we were there, we met up with the other content creators and we're like, what do you guys do for a job? Like, what do you do for, like, what's your actual job? And they'd be like, this is my job. And I was like, no, what's your actual job? I'm like, this is my, and we literally, myself and my wife, Shannon, went back to the hotel room. We're like, I think we should do this. We get to spend time with the kids and we get to go places and make money and not have to eat lentils. That sounds great.
They don't have lentils in California?
Not that I'm eating.
That's good. So it's a great success story. It's a wonderful story. The internet's favorite dad. Was that something that was, did you say, we need something, we need a handle, we need a brand, we need something more than Brittlestar, or did it just sort of develop naturally? Because you seem like a genuine guy. Like, this isn't like, oh, I'm gonna have to put something on to pretend to be this guy. You are this guy.
Yeah, I've set the bar low for myself, which is perfect.
That's twice you've said that now.
I know.
And,
well, it's
the amateur psychologists are worried now.
Yeah, it's
twice
a recurring
you said
theme.
that the bar has been set too low. I think you got to set the bar a little higher now.
Well, we'll see. It sounds like a lot of work. Basically, there's two parts of the internet's favorite dad aspect. One is when I started making content like on Vine, we would go to conferences and conventions and stuff for social media. And I would arrive there and I'd quickly realize, and the first one we went to, I was like, my son was doing, he was 11 and he was doing really good content and making really good numbers. And he'd kind of fit in. And then I would go, I'd say to someone, I love your videos. And I'd realize, oh God, you're 16. Maybe this is weird. So I became this sort of as opposed to like creepy old guy. Right. I decided maybe I should be the dad figure. And it worked really well because we did a lot of family content and stuff with our kids and myself and my wife. And it just kind of fit and it made it less creepy looking as well. Mm-hmm. And then after that, we filmed like a number of years after that, we filmed with Alan Thicke. And spent a day with him. He was fantastic, but he had in his bio on Twitter, America's favorite dad, but he spelt favorite the Canadian way. And it was kind of a bit of a wink and a nod that he was America's favorite dad, but he was actually Canadian. Right. And then when he died, I was like, well, I'm going to steal that. I'm going to make it the internet's favorite dad instead. Nice. And that's the story behind that.
Don't feel bad. Listen, everyone steals expressions. I just found out the story that of Jackie Gleason, the famous Jackie Gleason was like from Brooklyn, right? And so he was doing comedy stuff. But what happened was he had gone right into Manhattan and seen Milton Berle's act in Manhattan. And it was fabulous. And he stole the act, went back to Brooklyn, and nobody in Brooklyn had ever seen Milton Berle before. Sure. And they thought it was original stuff. And that's the way it was. Berle was mad at him for some stuff, whatever, but they ended up making money. So that was okay. And then there's just sort of like, top shelf where they keep the peanut butter. I wish I could have claimed that's mine. It's not. I took it. Someone said it. I said, that's pretty good. Yeah. I didn't say, do you mind if I borrow it for the rest of my life? And
simpler times.
I just took it.
Simpler, the times before social media and connectivity, simpler times where thieving was easy.
You got it. Okay. So you grew up in Stratford. Is that right?
I did. Yeah.
You know everything about Stratford sports, don't you?
I know so much about Stratford sports. I mean, okay. I live and breathe it.
All right. Who's the Jack Dent Trophy awarded to? The Jack Dent Trophy.
The Jack Dent Trophy is awarded to best auto body repair.
That's right. My wife. Correct. Wow. It's also, it happens to be the same name of the trophy that's awarded to the best defenseman on the Stratford Junior B team. Oh, it has been since 1960. But
there's two trophies, obviously. Yeah.
Right. Well, in fact, there actually is. There's a Jack Dent Trophy that was awarded to the top player for the Windsor Spitfires as well. Jack Dent was from Stratford, and so I thought you'd know that one. Okay.
Well,
do you know what NHL player scored 237 goals? That's more than any other Stratfordian.
Oh God.
He was my favorite player on the Hamilton Junior Red Wings. I met him. Oh. Yeah. So I guess you don't know that. I didn't mean to embarrass you, but
no. There's zero. When it comes to sports and me, there is zero embarrassment. So never worry about that.
Oh, good. So there's nothing. We don't have to worry about a low bar or anything like that.
No. Again, we'll bury the bar. Take the bar, put it underground, and then try to find a way to get it deeper. I mean, I would. Is it like a really famous name? Is it like Howie Morenz? Is that type of thing?
Well, not Howie Morenz. Now, come on, not the Mitchell Meteor, not the Stratford Streak, right? Not the. Wait a second, Dublin. I think they claimed him in Dublin. I think someone said, no, Howie was from Dublin.
Yeah.
He was from Dublin.
Well, the
no, in
borders
fact,
were
no. I'll tell you what it was. I'll tell you what happened. Rem Murray, okay, who born in Stratford. And that's what it says in the hockey register next to his name. It says born Stratford, Ontario. And so one night on Sportsline, I'm doing the highlights and we're going, Rem Murray from Stratford scores the winning goal. I get back to my desk. I get a phone call. It's Rem Murray's uncle. He's the Reeve of Dublin.
Okay.
He goes, Rem Murray, you said Rem Murray's from Stratford. I go, he's not from Stratford. He's from Dublin. I said, it says in the hockey register. He goes, I don't care what the hockey register says. He's from Dublin. I go, was he born in Dublin? He goes, there's no hospital in Dublin.
Exactly.
I go, oh. He goes, but he's not from Stratford.
Yeah, know your place, Dublin.
So there you go. And then it also happened to be with Curtis Joseph. I said, Curtis Joseph from Keswick, Ontario, and his wife, Nancy, comes up to me one night in Edmonton and says, you can't say that. I go, what do you mean? He goes, he's from Sharon. He's not a Keswickian. He's a Sharonian. I'm like, oh, okay. So you're right. You have to be careful. So I suspected if you're from a small town like Stratford and someone says that you're from Tavistock, you're like, what?
Yeah, you would, no one would ever admit that. I mean, unless you're like really into making cheese. There's a Tavistock cheese factory there. That'd be apart from that.
No, I thought you were going to say Crokinole. It's
Crokinole, exactly.
The World Crokinole Championships are in Tavistock, right?
Yes, that's right.
Postponed the last 2 years, by the way.
Because of the pandemic, because everyone knows it's a kissy huggy game.
Yeah. No, that's not the reason it was. Well, it might have been. Anyway, the answer is Nick Libet. Nick Libet from Stratford, Ontario.
You're making these names up. You're making these names up.
You're right. More than any other player, more than even Craig Hartsburg, which is another name I just made up too.
Yes. Craig and Corey Hartsburg. I'm familiar. Yes, there you go.
That's it. Mike, you didn't tell me that. You didn't tell me that he didn't know that much about Stratford sports. I'm just kidding about that. Anyway, so what's that?
Ask him about Justin Bieber.
What about Justin Bieber?
Well, he's a singer, Mark, and he's very popular.
Is he a Leaf fan?
He's a Leaf. He's a big Leafs fan.
Is everyone in Stratford a Leaf fan?
I think it's a split, actually. There's a three-way split in Stratford, I think, for NHL faves, and it's the Leafs, which is the traditional. No, and I wouldn't say it's traditional. It's one of the two traditionals. The Leafs, the Red Wings, and the Blackhawks. That's the three. Yeah.
Why?
Isn't that
Why
weird?
would that be?
I don't know. I think primarily.
Can you find out for me? Because Stratford Blackhawks doesn't make sense.
No, I'll do some digging. And
it just doesn't make any sense at all because nobody from Stratford was a Blackhawks player of any note. No. There's no connection unless Stratford is the second city of Chicago, the Canadian cousin of
the sister city.
It's kind of like a sister. It's Chicagoland sister city is basically what it is. Yeah, exactly. Chicago. Exactly. I do a lot of voiceovers for Chicago. Isn't that weird? Like a lot of radio spots. Isn't that bizarre?
You could be from Chicago. You sort of have that Chicagoland because it's Chicagoland, right? When you're doing
Chicagoland, Chicagoland.
It's like GTA is Chicagoland.
Yeah, which is weird. But hey, listen, they pay, and I say,
yeah, it's a good city too.
I like slogan.
There you go. It's a good slogan to have. All right, let's talk about this Ukraine thing now.
Let's lighten it up.
Well, not like enough. I want to talk about it when it comes to like sports because I found yesterday when I'm watching all the sportscasts, like it was like a terrible what's going on in Ukraine, of course. But what does that do to sports? And when you think about it, think about the Olympics. Russia had the Olympics in 2016. Russia is going to have 2 of the next 4 World Hockey Championships, the World Juniors in Siberia and next year in St. Petersburg. Now you're going, okay, we can't have that in Russia.
No.
But what about sanctions? Like, can you go out and say, if you're Russian, if you have anything to do with Russia, we're going to sanction you. So if you happen to be Alex Ovechkin of the Washington Capitals, like, what are they going to do? You're Putin's friend. Are they going to say, oh, we're sorry, Alex, you can't do this? Like, I'm not sure I can understand the scope of what the rest of the world is doing to try to punish Russia from a sports standpoint.
Yeah, I think it depends on what happens and how it plays out. But I think that you look at Ovechkin and stuff, and it's, like you said, he's buddy with Putin and has him as his profile picture on one of his socials. It's like, I don't know, man. That seems like that doesn't seem like you're uninterested or unconnected. But at the same time, you can't just blanket, say, hey, you've got a Russian sounding name, you're out of luck now. But at the same time,
they used to do that, though. I mean,
for sure.
When they were profiling Muslims, is it not? pretty similar, right?
Oh, it's evidently wrong, and it's evidently foolish as well to do that. But at the same time, it's like you've got someone like him who's like openly saying, "Hooray, this is awesome," and you're like, "I don't think it's awesome. I think it's not that awesome." But it's like this is like the same argument as like separating the artist from the art. And do you separate the sportsman from the person? I don't know. I don't know if you can do that or not.
What about the owner of the Chelsea Football Club, one of the top teams, of course, the richest teams in England, is Abramovich, and he's a Russian oligarch.
Yeah.
So can you put sanctions on the team? Again, it's like, it's not their fault, but this guy's the owner. This guy's money comes from Russia. All these sponsors that people are dropping like hotcakes, like that's a Russian-owned company. We can't have their patch on our jersey. We can't have their sticker on our car. I mean,
it may surprise you to find out that no one's asked for my opinion on this before. But I think, thanks, Mike. I think, why wouldn't you stop the money, at least briefly, like freeze that stuff out and just get a handle on things.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Stock market was down 41%.
Yeah.
First day, people are panicking all over.
Sure. Absolutely.
And, get this feeling that it's kind of like, stop, you can't do that. Stop doing that. Don't do that. We warned you before. We're going to take gold medals away from your Olympians. We're going to do all these things. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, man.
Yeah.
Did the world do the same thing when he was invading Afghanistan, when the Russians were invading the Soviets were invading Afghanistan? Okay. We're not going to go to the Olympics. We'll show you.
Yeah.
Okay. That did some good. Did it any good? I don't know, but they've let him get away with so much.
Crappy time to be a politician in general. I think in general, it's crappy to be a politician. I think specifically the past 3 years have not been an awesome time to be a politician. Not that I have a great sympathy, but I have a bit of sympathy.
Right. What, when you were growing up in Stratford, were you, did you like playing sports? Were you a hockey guy, a baseball guy?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you my amazing hockey career. I played, get ready. It's Brownie C was fantastic. And then Brownie B. Yeah, Brownie C.
What?
Don't listen. This is the way we do it in Stratford, all right? Brownies, or we did it in the 70s. Brownie C was the first level of like organized hockey you could get into at the time.
How old were you?
Like, 7, maybe.
Okay, that's Mite. It was Mite, Tyke, Minor Adam, Minor Pee-wee, Minor Bantam, Minor Midget when I was growing up.
Yeah. Well, not in Stratford. We're a theater town, so we like to do things differently. Brownie C, and then there was, I don't know why, and then Brownie B, and then I sailed through those. Brownie B was a good year for me. I scored 4 goals. That was pretty good for a defenseman. That's not bad.
It is good.
And then Brownie A was losing luster for me. I didn't enjoy as much. And then in my second year of Brownie A, which I found out isn't a thing. Not everyone went through a second year of Brownie A. Apparently, only I went through a second year of Brownie A.
And like I wondered held back in school, right?
Exactly. I wondered where all my friends went. They were gone, and I was still out there skating, wondering what's going on, trying to score a goal on defense. And yeah, it was. So I stopped going because my grandparents' house was across the street from the arena, and I loved it because I could get ready at our place, my mom and dad's place, go to the arena, and then just like put the skate guards on, hightail it over to my grandma's house, get a hot chocolate. It's a good time. It was awesome. But then kids started changing in the change rooms. I was like, I don't want to show up and change in the change. I don't want to do that. I want to just show up and play. And I want to get the hell out of there. I don't want to hang out. Why do I want to hang out with a bunch of naked 10-year-olds? Well, they weren't naked, but almost. It was too much.
You'd rather hang out with your grandmother.
She wasn't naked.
I didn't say she was. I didn't say that at all. Come on. Who was your favorite player growing up? You were a defenseman. Who was it? Bobby Orr?
Boyer Salming.
Boyer Salming. What a great choice.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic player. Lanny McDonald, Daryl Sittler. All those guys were phenomenal players and really exciting. And really, I think back to the no face guards and all that kind of stuff. You really it made it easier to market those guys too. You had a real good idea of who they were and all that kind of thing. Whereas it's a little harder now, but of course they live longer. So that's good.
4 helmets too, man. You imagine you knew what these guys looked like.
Oh, no, I know. It
was
great
the best.
Hair.
Great hair.
That was
Guy Lafleur's hair flying. I mean, as soon as he started to wear a helmet,
yeah.
and if I'm not mistaken, in Guy's first year, he wore a helmet, which he had done in junior, and then he didn't like it or he wasn't playing well, and then he got rid of the helmet, and then the flowing locks. the Dimon Blonde. I mean, it was a beautiful thing. And that I think really helps in the marketing. That's why basketball players are so much easier to market, and baseball players, because you can see you can see their faces.
Yeah.
You can see their bodies. They don't have all this armor around them and helmets and masks. And,
they should almost, like, as soon as they get off the ice, they should have a quick release helmet or something. They should just flip back automatically. Yeah. So at least you can see them on the bench and you'd be like, oh yeah, I like that guy. And then when he goes back on, that's why you've got the mullet though, right? You got to do something special with the back of your hair so it stands out. And you'd be like, I like that guy.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. I liked it in football. There's one shot in football, a guy named Curtis Johnson. He was a defensive back for the Miami Dolphins, and he had a phenomenal afro, just a spectacular afro. And there's a NFL film shot in slow motion where he takes his helmet off. and as soon as he takes it off, the afro pops up, and the sound effects with a popping. It was just, hair was fantastic. And that's why people love some of the, that's why hockey cards and baseball cards are coming back, is you see these guys in poses with the hair, mustaches, and the uniforms and the logos, and go, whoa, is that ever a cool look? And look at the hair on that guy there.
That's the thing. I mean, I did a thing a couple of years ago, a few years ago for CBC, where I did some videos with Olympic athletes. And it quickly dawned on me that they're just like, athletes are just performers. They're entertainers. They get it. They understand. It's like, and they're so good at taking direction. I was really nervous meeting some of these people. I'd be like, here's the concept. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. And you're going to stand there and do this. And they'd be like, okay.
Who'd you work with?
Oh, come on, man.
Sorry.
Why would you do that to me? Derek Bruin. There you go. Derek Bruin was one of them.
Derek Bruin was great.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Yeah, he was really good. He was the first guy I worked with. And I went like down to Florida. I went to BC to film with them. I just show up with like a tripod and a phone as my camera, and that was it. And they'd be like, okay, let's do this. And they were right into it. They like, wear this. Okay, perfect. Let's do this. I did a thing with the women's rugby team in Victoria where I was like, what's going to happen is we're going to be sitting around hanging out. And they're sitting around chatting, and then they're eating chips like Pringles. And I walk in and someone says, you toss me the snacks. And I was like, no, don't throw them. I say that to me. Can you toss me the snacks? And they go to throw it to me. It's like, don't throw it to me, meaning they're instinctively going to tackle me if they throw this thing. And so they did that. And then they take me out and knock me out of the chair and all kind of stuff. But they were like, yeah, is this good? Let's do it again. And I was like, okay, cool. This sounds fine to me. Fantastic. But I just like the idea that the athletes are like, you think of them as like fine-tuned machines and focus, which they are, but they're also like totally aware of becoming performing the sport.
Now they are. They resisted for years. So. I mean, think about this. When television first came along, the newspaper writers were like, get the hell out of here. What, like, because you're stepping on my territory. Yeah. Now everybody's got a camera. So now the professional camera, it's like, you see that guy there, is that a member of the press? It's like, look, they're all members of the press. I mean, whether it's the traditional press, whether it's mainstream media, whether it's some guy that's got a blog, it doesn't matter now because people are aware of it. And especially athletes and entertainers, they know that there's always cameras on them. They know, they're aware of it. And so rather than resisting it, they just play to it.
I want to get your opinion on something that's related to that. And there's a woman that we've done some work with at conventions in Florida whose name's Whitney, and she's like the sweetest, loveliest young woman. And I found out 3 years ago that she's a massive professional wrestling fan. Nice. I mean, when I was like 8, 9, I would watch it on Saturday mornings or Saturday afternoons. It was great. But I'm not into it and whatever. And she's a massive fan, and it shocked me. And I said, why would it's just theater. All it is theater. Right. And she had this fantastic argument about professional wrestling, which was really convincing. She said, you know how the Super Bowl is sometimes amazing? And I was like, yeah. I was like, you know how the Super Bowl sometimes sucks? And I said, yeah. And she goes, professional wrestling, they never suck. They've scripted it. So it's you go, you don't know what's going to happen. And it's always amazing. I thought that was a really good argument. You should just do that for everything. Just do it for hockey games.
Said, it was a dull wrestling match. Did you go to the wrestling matches? Oh, it was dull. Never dull. Something always ends. If it is dull and someone's going, we got to pick this up as they're in a clinch.
Yeah.
I've spoken to all the wrestlers, and these guys are incredible athletes, and
absolutely,
and the pain that they go through. I mean, even when they say to you, "Oh yeah, you learn how to fall," you're still hitting the deck, and it's hard.
Exactly.
And then you're getting in your car the next night and driving 300 miles to the next one. The late Angelo Mosca, King Kong Mosca, told me stories unbelievable, like the pain that you go through and all that. But the theater, the fact that you can stand in the middle of the ring and you have complete control over your audience, he says, was the most amazing feeling. Madison Square Garden, Maple Leaf Gardens, Yankees, it didn't matter. He said, when you're in that ring and you're you're the heel and people are booing you or whatever, but you have command, he said, there's nothing greater. And I've never been on the stage before that way, but I can imagine that, everyone's looking at you. You have control. That must be amazing.
Yeah. No, so what's stopping other sports from doing that? Or it's like when games are fixed? Is that basically like, are we okay with that? Are we like, yeah, that's fine? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where's the line?
Yeah, the fix, you see, it was always something like all it takes is one person for a good fix, and that's boxing. The guy takes a dive, right? He's the favorite or whatever. The money goes on the other side. He makes it look good. He hangs in for the number of rounds, down he goes. Horse racing, different story. You got to get 8 horses and jockeys involved or something like that. Did Michael Johnson pull up against Donovan Bailey? Did he have money on Donovan Bailey? You could look at every sporting event and say, did the loser have money on the winner? We'll never know. But if NBA referees are caught doing it, if match fixing by soccer officials has been rampant in certain countries, then and there's legal betting everywhere. Yeah. All I know is this. The people that took the money were the ones that needed it. The soccer players that were making dirt money for some 4th division team. And here you go. Here's 100,000 or whatever. Here's money for a lifetime.
Does anyone bet on wrestling? Do people bet on wrestling? Like, are there people that are that dumb out there who bet on wrestling? It'd be like going to a movie and betting on the movie.
I don't think Bodog takes odds for wrestling. Yeah. I mean, UFC for sure, or boxing, absolutely sanctioned fights. Sure. But wrestling, that would be tough to sanction that one. Can you imagine? What would the line have been? The Stomper versus Dory Funk Jr. or, Bruno. Like, can you imagine if the odds were that way for boxing for sure? Because Sonny Liston was a huge favorite over Clay in the first fight. When Clay beat him, right? It was like he was a massive underdog. Some say that Sonny Liston took a dive. It was the mafia that owned Sonny Liston anyway. So if anyone was going to take a dive for the money, it would be him.
Do you like how I sounded convincing when I was going, yeah, of course. Absolutely.
All right. Tell us what you're up to now. You've got I get your newsletter, or is that a blog?
That's like a newsletter. It's a blurb more than a blog. Yeah, it's just a little. It started off as this newsletter goes out on usually Sunday mornings around 7:40 or so.
Yeah, that's when I get it on Sunday mornings. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's sort of nicely timed, and it's basically it started off as like a space for scripts that I wasn't able to use, ideas for videos that I wasn't able to like flesh out and do, and now it's just kind of it's sort of turned into more of a thing of. It's like free therapy for me, basically. And it's also, I get these lovely comments back from people saying that it's kind of helped them digest some of the stuff that's been happening in the week. And it's like, that's nice. That's great. So
it's good.
And then, the newsletter is doing its thing. And then, of course, we have the S&G, which is essentially a vodka that's got like a hint of butter tart taste to it. And we started that last year, and it's doing really, really well. And it'll be in stores this year, which is exciting.
That is and merch, you're doing well with the merch too, right? The merch is good.
Yeah. So we have a Peace Love Canada line, peacelovecanada.ca. And we started that in November of 2020. And it started because we used to have like regular merch, like Brittlestar merch and stuff. And then we thought, I actually want to create sort of a merch line that's just this based around this notion of, Canadianness, the best of Canada, basically the best aspects of Canada. Nice. And it's done really well. It's like quickly become a massive part of our business. And it's all run by my wife, Shannon, and every piece is like quality controlled. And that's why we started it, because we were like doing stuff with other suppliers. And then it was like the quality was kind of hit and miss. And it was like, well, let's actually like nitty gritty quality control every single piece. And it's really paid off, which is awesome. So yeah.
Fantastic, man. Listen, the best of luck with everything. I mean, you're multi-talented. You got lots going on.
Thank you.
You're omnipresent.
Yeah.
Toronto Mike, you're as popular as Toronto Mike, I think.
I don't have the hair. I don't have the hair. He's got better hair than I have, though.
All I got.
I'd trade.
Oh, stop. The two of you, honest to God, you're both making me nauseous. We set the bar so low. This is all.
Neither of us are Hebsy. That's for sure. Neither of us are Hebsy.
Meaning, like, is that to make us feel better or to make us feel worse?
The same. I want you to feel the same. Absolutely the same.
All right. Okay, cool.
So anyway, yeah. So so Britt, listen, or Stewart Reynolds, a.k.a. Brittlestar.
Sure.
Thanks a lot for joining us. A lot of fun. Really appreciate it. You and Chris Jones. There's some similarities. I like talking to both of you guys. Chris is more threads on Twitter, right? Good stories. And you're more like, once a week, a little here and then a little. I loved the one last week. We did a good thing. Yeah. That's last Sunday morning about 7:30. I'm like, we did a good thing. We're good. We're Canadians. We did a good thing.
Exactly.
And by the way, and the Ted Cruz one, goddamn Ted Cruz from Alberta.
Exactly. As I say in that video, tight race.
Thank you so much for joining us, my friend. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks so much, guys, for having me on. Take care.
Cheers.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Peace and love to Brittlestar.
Oh my God. He is very good. There is some similarities. A good storyteller is a good
He's great. He's great. Not a big sports guy, I don't think, but very interesting personality, and he's done very well for himself. Like he's done very well for himself.
There you go. He'll be doing even better now when he appears on the show. Sky's the limit for him now.
I was going to ask him if he had is he friends with like Ron Sexsmith or Peter Mansbridge? I'm thinking of people I know who live in Stratford. But
people I know who live in Stratford.
Right.
For 200, Alex. That's a good one. Well, he didn't know the Jack Dent Trophy, right?
Right.
And he didn't know Nick Libet. Now, those were two. I mean, if you're a real Stratfordian and a sports fan from way back, you would. If not, if you only played Brownie A, B, and C, you wouldn't know those things. Okay, listen. So I was talking about the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And Formula One has already pulled the race from Russia following the invasion of Ukraine, saying it would be, quote, impossible to hold the race in Sochi under the current circumstances. The Grand Prix had been scheduled for September 25th. No word as to a replacement site if there is going to be one. Top drivers had already announced that they would not compete in Russia. As soon as the invasion happened, they said, we're not competing. So it was a slam dunk decision by Formula One. Other sports are making arrangements to cancel or postpone events in Russia. UEFA, the governing body of pro soccer in Europe, is going to move its Champions League game scheduled for May, that's the final, in St. Petersburg, to 80,000-seat Stade de France, just north of Paris. So already, you're not having the Champions League final. That's a lot of dough.
Right.
It's a lot of dough that they're going to lose there. UEFA also announced that all matches involving Russian or Ukrainian teams will be moved to neutral sites until further notice. Don't want to be playing soccer in a war zone.
It's terrible, Hebsy. It's terrible, like absolutely terrible. And Ukraine is not a member of NATO. Otherwise, we'd be in a war right now. There, you invade one of us, you invade us all. This is the creed. But this is to me, this is not even a political issue. This is a black and white aggressor here, and
human rights. Yeah, absolutely.
This is awful.
And as you know, hockey huge in Russia.
Of course,
IHF is bent over backwards for Russia, despite all of the sanctions against that nation in the past when it comes to Olympic athletes, doping, and just you name it. Right? Very sinister. What goes on in Russia athletics? Very sinister.
And it's illegal in Russia still, I believe, to be gay. Am I right about this?
Yeah,
you can't, think about that. Talk about human rights. That's
that's one of many.
Sure, but that's a big one.
Absolutely. And we know that hockey is massive in Russia. And the IIHF has 4 tournaments scheduled in the next couple of years that will have to be looked at very carefully when it comes to Russian involvement. 2 of them are actually in Russia. The 2023 World Championships are in St. Petersburg, and the World Juniors that year are scheduled for Siberia. But what about the other 2? In fact, the one that's going on in May this year is in Helsinki. That's the World Championships. What do you do with the Russian team? Can you allow them to play? How does that work? And then the World Juniors are in Alberta this summer. Remember, rescheduled. Russia going to be there? What's going to happen? So time to start looking for new venues for those 2 events that they're going to take place in Russia for sure, because they aren't going to be hosting any events. At the very least, the sanctions are going to be, you're not going to be hosting any events. Who the heck wants to go there anyway?
What's your opinion, Hebsy? What's your take on this? Like, what do you do with the Russian teams, like you said, in this the World Juniors in August? Is Russia permitted to?
If they're part of the Russian Federation, the Russian Hockey Federation, and they're controlled by the Russian government, then the answer is they're not allowed to participate.
Interesting.
Just like in the Olympics, you're going to have to participate on your own, under your own banner, but you can't participate under the Russian flag. You're not paid by them. You're not sanctioned by them. They're coaching, none of that. So it comes from the state. If it's state sponsored, then and I'm sure there'll be a real hue and cry from all the athletes, but hey, and the ones that are living in North America, not even living in Russia, but but are claiming Russian status and all the good stuff that comes there. Sorry, you're gonna have to make a decision here.
And of course, we speak here February 25. We have no idea what tomorrow will bring. Like we have no idea what Putin's doing next. It's just that's what's
and in the grand scheme of things. Remember this too. We're going through a pandemic, 2 years of a pandemic. We want our sports back, and now it's like a war in Ukraine. Oh, is that's going to interrupt our sports? A lot of people are thinking that way. They're not in the United Nations. Let them battle it out for themselves. Well, did they say the same thing in Poland in September of 1939 when Hitler invaded? Oh, well.
Well, remember, that's what I think about, because they took Czechoslovakia first. They took the Sudetenland, and then they took the whole thing, and we were all appeasing, like, okay, just please don't take anything more.
Well, we didn't. The other thing, Mike, we didn't. The rest of the world did not know what was going on. We weren't aware. You've got so many boots on the ground in Ukraine. Everybody with cameras. We're well aware. We can see what's going on. Back then, you didn't. They were already into Czechoslovakia.
We let Germany take Czechoslovakia, right? But we allowed Hitler to take Czechoslovakia.
Well, when you say we allowed, you have to go back over the newspapers. There was no television back then, and radio reports as to what we were being informed. What were we being told? Did you say, "Hey, go over there and find out what's going on," or did you have to depend on the correspondents that were there?
No, they knew exactly. They knew.
They did. Well, some of them did, and some of them didn't. Or some of them chose not to tell you.
They appeased. But then when you went into Poland, that's when it all obviously.
Mike,
that's when
remember when we talked about Lou Marsh? Remember when? Trying to think of the reporter's name now. Oh my God, Matthew Halton. Sent dispatches back from being in Germany for many times back to the Toronto Star. How horrible it was! How Jews were being denied their basic human rights, and the anti-Semitism that was going on, and they chose to ignore it. Canada chose to ignore it. Okay, that's their problem. It's a German problem. That was in 1936. We went to the Olympics, so the rest of the world has to do something, whatever we can do. And all these other things do seem insignificant, but hey, if you're a baseball fan and you're in North America, what's going on in Ukraine may not be affecting you as much as others. You're a baseball fan. It's baseball season. Well, guess what? Monday at midnight is the deadline set by Major League Baseball to get a deal done with the Players Association. The owners say that a 162-game season is in jeopardy unless a deal can be reached, and that has to be by Monday at midnight. And Mike, it doesn't look like it now, as the two sides are reportedly far apart, but you never know what happens when a deadline is looming. It might be posturing by the owners. They might just be dead serious by not starting the season on time and putting pressure on the players. Because let's face it, today's owners are not like the previous generations. It's not like George Bush, who's, I'm a baseball fan. I played, I'm going to be an owner. Nolan Ryan, and all these guys that were, baseball players or baseball fans that buy teams. No, not anymore. It's corporations now. These people that own the teams, they don't know anything about baseball. They're not baseball fans. They didn't grow up with a baseball card collection. It's all about profits, And they're the ones that are saying, no, we're not going to spend that kind of money. No, we're not going to do it. We're not. We're in business. We're going to lose money. We're not going to make as much as we should. And that's what they're doing. And I fear that this is going to be a long lockout. It is a lockout.
It's going to mess up your spring training tickets.
You know what, Mike? There's minor league baseball. So what? I don't see Vladdy and Bo. I'll see the minor leaguers. They're allowed to go. They're allowed to train. They're not major leaguers. There will be instruction. There will be games. I'll get my baseball. I'm not worried. And you know what? I'll tell you another thing. I'm used to it now, Mike. And others are too. We're going through 2 years of what? Not being able to see our relatives, not being able to go out, not being able to socialize. We're used to it now. We're tough. We can take a baseball strike, a lockout. For sure we can. We found other things to do with our lives. We're tough. We're not like those wimps from a couple of years ago that hadn't gone through anything difficult. A couple of financial crises, sure, but no, come on. Got to see your family, got to go out for Sunday dinner, got to go to restaurants, got to do stuff, got to go to games. Now we're tough. Oh, there's not going to be any baseball. What are you going to do about it? Hey, guess what? I'll find other things to do. I'll be okay. I'm not going to lose, that sleep over. Look, I lost sleep over a lot worse than whether there's going to be Major League Baseball or not. Okay? 2 years, a pandemic, millions of dollars in losses. The world has changed. It will never go back to the way it was. So as far as these owners are concerned, they can afford to lose a few more million or tens of millions or even hundreds of millions in order to get what they want down the road. Is that too cynical, Mike?
No, that's realistic, I think.
All right. In tennis, Denis Shapovalov's into the semifinals at the Dubai Championships. He gets the qualifier Yuri Vesely, who knocked off Novak Djokovic in the quarters. That goes on this morning, that Shapovalov match. The winner there plays the winner of the Hubert Hurkacz-Andrei Rublev match in Sunday's final. Meanwhile, with the Joker's loss, Daniil Medvedev is moved into the number 1 slot in the ATP rankings. So, Mike, this is the first person other than Federer, Nadal, Joker, and Andy Murray to hold down the number 1 spot since 2004.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
Novak Djokovic was world number 1 for 361 weeks.
Wow.
Roger Federer, 310 weeks. Rafael Nadal, 209 weeks. Andy Murray, 41 weeks. Daniil Medvedev, 1 week. In golf, Kurt Kitayama shot 6 under 64 to grab the first round lead at the Honda Classic in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. That's where I'm going soon, not to Palm Beach Gardens, but to Florida to play golf. Top Canadians, Taylor Pendrith and Roger Sloan, 1 under 69. Mackenzie Hughes, 70. Michael Gligic, 70. Nick Taylor, 77. Everyone's talking about Phil Mickelson these days, too, on the tour. It's unlikely that Lefty will ever play a tour event again after trying to assemble a super tour with the Saudis and all their billions and having that blow up in his face. Essentially, here's what happened. Mickelson tried to lure other PGA players away from the tour and into his new venture, which is funded by the Saudis. Of the Saudi investors he was working with, he said, this isn't a quote, but he basically said that there's a lot of human rights issues, and they killed Khashoggi, but hey, they love golf and they have lots of dough. What? It was something like that. It was just outrageous, ridiculous. And all the players are like, oh my God, Phil, please. And his longtime sponsors have dropped him like a hot potato. It's like treason, Mike. Phil, the rise and fall of Phil Mickelson, and the fall has been like.
Did you ever like him? Maybe because I like Tiger Woods so much, I never liked Phil Mickelson. Like I felt a rivalry there, and I had a side. Like I was a big Tiger fan. But what were your thoughts on Phil during his prime? Yeah,
let me put it this way: he was not the smartest decision maker, and I can tell you this right now. When Phil Mickelson stepped up to the 18th hole with a 2-shot lead at the U.S. Open in, I don't remember the year, 2-shot lead. All day long, his driver had been failing him. All day long, he could not hit the fairway with his driver. So on the 18th, with a 2-shot lead, he pulls out his driver. And right then and there, I said, this guy is just an idiot. He's a stubborn idiot, and he deserves to lose. He proceeded to hit that driver about 100 yards left of the fairway and into such shit that even to recover and get it anywhere near the green was an impossibility. He ended up making a triple bogey and losing the tournament. So I thought about that, and I thought, this is a guy that doesn't make smart decisions. And he didn't make a smart decision here, and it's going to cost him his career and his legacy. And there you go. And that's that. And that's it. And that's all for episode 273 of Hebsy on Sports. Thanks to Toronto Mike for production and inspiration. Hit him up at Toronto Mike and give his outstanding podcast a listen, especially episode 1000. An epic. Also, big thanks to executive producer Scott Allen and to our sponsors, NateMakesSoap.com and GoodFootDelivery.com. And many thanks to our guest today, Stewart Reynolds, a.k.a. Brittlestar. Hit him up at Brittlestar. Fabulous guest. And thanks to you for allowing us into your headspace. We're back with another episode next week when our guest will be former Toronto Blue Jay, Garth Orge, number 16. Until then, so long for now. Awesome.
All right. Goodbye to everybody watching live. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a nice weekend.